On a rainy afternoon just before Thanksgiving in 1971, a man boarding a flight from Portland to Seattle committed what remains one of the most daring and confounding crimes in American history. Known only as D.B. Cooper, this unidentified individual hijacked a commercial jet, extorted a ransom of $200,000, over $1.4 million today, and parachuted into the dark wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, never to be seen again. Despite decades of investigation, thousands of leads, and countless theories, the mystery of D.B. Cooper endures. The hijacking, November 24th, 1971. At around 2 p.m. on November 24th, 1971, a man identifying himself as Dan Cooper purchased a one-way ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines, Flight 305. The flight was a short 30-minute trip from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. Witnesses described him as a quiet, middle-aged man wearing a dark suit, a black tie with a mother-of-pearl tie pin, a white shirt, and sunglasses. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. Initially thinking it was just another man's phone number, she pocketed it. Cooper leaned over and said quietly, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, he showed her a collection of red cylinders and wires. He then dictated his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane for a getaway flight. A cool and calculated criminal. The plane circled Seattle for nearly 2 hours while authorities scrambled to meet Cooper's demands. Passengers were told there was a mechanical delay. At 5:39 p.m., the plane landed, and Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers for the money and parachutes. He kept several crew members on board. Once the ransom was delivered, Cooper ordered the plane to take off again, this time heading toward Mexico City with specific instructions: fly under 10,000 feet, keep the landing gear down, maintain a slow speed, and leave the rear stairway deployed. Around 8 p.m., somewhere over the rugged forests of southwestern Washington, Cooper lowered the rear stairway and jumped into the stormy night with the money strapped to his body. When the plane landed in Reno, Nevada, Cooper was gone. A massive manhunt was launched, but no trace of him was found. The investigation begins. The FBI launched what became known as NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking, one of the most extensive investigations in U.S. history. Investigators combed through aircraft records, passenger lists, flight crew statements, and interviews with over 800 suspects. A composite sketch of Cooper, based on eyewitness accounts, was circulated nationwide. Despite their efforts, the FBI hit a wall. No confirmed sightings or forensic evidence pinpointed his identity. The parachutes and the briefcase bomb were never recovered. The only physical clue came 9 years later, the $5,800 clue. In 1980, a boy named Brian Ingram was vacationing with his family near the Columbia River in southern Washington. While digging in the sand, he discovered 3 bundles of decaying $20 bills totaling $5,800. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to D.B. Cooper. The discovery was tantalizing but frustrating. It proved that at least part of the money had been buried in the area, but how it got there remained a mystery. Was it deliberately buried? Was it lost during Cooper's jump? Or was it planted as a red herring? Suspects and theories. Over the decades, the D.B. Cooper case has spawned an array of suspects and theories, ranging from the plausible to the bizarre. Some of the most prominent include: 1. Richard Floyd McCoy. A former Green Beret, McCoy hijacked a plane in 1972 using almost identical methods, demanding $500,000 in parachuting to safety. He was captured, escaped prison, and was killed in a shootout with the FBI in 1974. Many believe McCoy was Cooper, though differences in appearance and M.O., Cooper was described as older and more polished, led the FBI to rule him out. 2. Robert Rackstraw. A decorated Vietnam veteran and explosives expert, Rackstraw had a criminal record and ties to the Pacific Northwest. He even hinted at being Cooper in interviews, but always stopped short of confessing. In 2016, a documentary team claimed to have decoded letters sent to newspapers using military codes tied to Rackstraw. The FBI, however, dismissed the evidence and closed the case in 2016 without naming him as a suspect. Trainer Kenneth Christensen. A former paratrooper and Northwest Orient employee, Christensen was posthumously accused by his brother. He matched Cooper's description and had an unexplained stash of cash at his death. While compelling, the FBI didn't find conclusive links. 4. Lynn Doyle Cooper. Another suspect came from a family tip. Marla Cooper, his niece, claimed her uncle came home injured the day after the hijacking and that he'd plotted something criminal. The FBI interviewed her and tested DNA, but again, no conclusive match. 5. The theory that Cooper died. Some experts believe Cooper didn't survive the jump. He leapt into rough terrain on a stormy night with little visibility, wearing loafers and a business suit. If he did perish in the forest, animals or the elements could have hidden his body, but without any remains or most of the money recovered, the theory remains speculation. Why the case still fascinates. The D.B. Cooper mystery has become a cultural phenomenon, inspiring books, songs, TV shows, and even beer labels. The hijacker's brazen confidence, calm demeanor, and the sheer audacity of his escape evoke admiration from some and disbelief from others. It's the ultimate perfect crime story. A man executes a complex heist with precision, vanishes into thin air, and leaves almost no trace. In a time when Americans were reeling from Vietnam, Watergate, and social unrest, Cooper's anti-establishment stunt struck a nerve. He became a folk hero, a modern outlaw who outsmarted the system without hurting anyone. The FBI closes the case. In July 2016, after 45 years of investigation, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case. They announced they were reallocating resources to other priorities. The case had generated over 1,000 suspects, hundreds of tips, and countless hours of investigation. They preserved evidence in case new information emerged, but effectively acknowledged the mystery may never be solved. Legacy and pop culture. D.B. Cooper has become immortalized in American culture, TV, and film. He's been referenced in Breaking Bad, Prison Break, Loki, and Leverage. Music. Artists like Chuck Brodsky and Jimmy Buffett have written songs about him. Festivals and tourism. Some Pacific Northwest towns host Cooper-themed events. Ariel, Washington, held annual D.B. Cooper Days for decades. There's even a theory in Loki, 2021, where Cooper is a disguise used by the Norse god himself, underscoring how mythic the story has become. Conclusion. A legend in the shadows. More than 50 years after that audacious leap into the unknown, D.B. Cooper remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. Was he a mastermind who got away with it all? A desperate man who perished anonymously in the woods? Or someone living under a new identity, quietly watching his legend grow? The truth, like the man himself, remains elusive, and perhaps that's why the world can't let him go. In an age of digital surveillance, Cooper's vanishing act feels almost mythical, an echo of a time when one man, with a briefcase and a plan, could vanish into the sky and become a legend.